And now we have a very special guest for you. Republican presidential candidate Dr. Ben Carson is with us. Dr. Carson, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Always good to be with you.
It's always great to see you as well. I want to start with the State of the Union address. President Obama taking something of a victory lap, saying that the economy is not in decline, saying that America's place in the world is as strong as ever. What did he get wrong?
Well, I think he gave us a very good description of the world as he sees it or as he wishes it to be. But almost everything it could be talked about in a very different way. You know, he talks about, unity and how to bring it about, and yet he has not really contributed to that, really has done just the opposite. He talks about how great the economy is, how we've cut the unemployment rate in half. But of course, anyone knows that you can make that number anything you want, and that the labor force participation rate is at its lowest state in 38 years. You know, this kind of dishonesty is, I think, one of the things that the American people are so concerned about. They don't believe anything that's coming out of our administration, and that's very frustrating.
Now, Dr. Carson, on that point about unity, is there something to that? Not saying that it's been accomplished under President Obama. I think almost every poll will say the exact opposite. We're more divisive as a nation. We're more against each other as a nation as we've been in decades. But is there something to that, and is there something to the notion that the President of the United States should be the person making that happen?
Oh, without question. The bully pulpit is the best place from which to talk about those things that bring us together rather than the things that divide us. I mean, there are a lot of things that we have in common. And the whole concept of conversation, you know, this administration has really closed the door when it comes to the executive branch and the legislative branch working together, which is the way things were intended. He really doesn't even have close relationships with the Democrats. And whenever people stop communicating, generally there is a breakdown in the relationship. So, yes, the president has a huge role in that.
I want to ask a little bit about your campaign as we head into this very critical presidential debate. Obviously, your numbers have come down, reports of defections in your camp. It feels like from the outside looking in, it's in serious disarray, and many people thinking that Iowa could be your last stand.
It is not in disarray at all. In fact, the esprit de corps is higher than it's ever been. But we did have to make some changes because things were not getting done in an appropriate way. Communications were not what they should be. The relationship with the press was not what it should be. There are a whole host of things that were incorrect. We brought in what we needed in order to fix that. Some who were, entrenched in the other way of doing things, right, obviously didn't feel comfortable, and that's okay. But the vast majority of people have stayed and are incredibly happy.
Dr. Carson, having said that, it feels like the clock is ticking. Your numbers have come down. Do you have enough time to turn this around and to sort of readdress the American public, perhaps reintroduce yourself and reclaim that magic that once had you at the top of the polls?
I do think so. You know, we've been in Iowa several days in the last couple of weeks. Overflow crowds, standing room only, having to do double events in 3 cases because there were hundreds of people who couldn't get in, and we didn't want to just ignore them. That shows that there is something right that is beginning to happen. And I think as we're getting closer to D-Day, people are actually starting to listen to what's being said rather than listening to the misinterpretations, which are sometimes intentional by those who have other motives and really don't want to see the kind of change in right America that the people are seeking.
Well, I got to tell you, one thing we both know from his history is that the majority of voters in Iowa, New Hampshire, and other places don't make up their minds until days before the actual election. Dr. Carson, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Good luck, and hope to see you real soon. Thanks a lot. Hey, more